As an investor owner, is it possible to claim part of my internet, phone, and home office as expenses?
This is the second it depends question. The internet and phone, it's going to depend on what kind of entity you are. If you're an S or a C Corp, you can deduct them 100% if your employer requires you to have internet and phone.
But if they're just an investor in real estate, they would still be able to write off a few things, would they not?
Yes, you could write off the internet and phone, but only it's going to be limited to how much of it is used in
for
the business.
See, what Jeff is talking about is if you have one of these beautiful little iPhones or whatever they are, which, oops, stop. I'm dialing my mother right now. She called me and it just went right back. How do I hang up on my mom? Anyway, that's bad. Sorry, Mom. But if you have one of these and your employer wants you to use it in your employment, I can reimburse 100%. So if I work for Jeff's CPA and I use this, hey, I have to answer tax questions, Jeff could reimburse me 100%. I don't have to say what portion is personal or business. That's the benefit of an accountable plan. When you have when you're an employee of an organization. To be an employee, by the way, that organization must be taxed, not has to be, but it must be taxed as S Corp, C Corp, or a charity, 501c3. Most likely, if it's for profit, it's S or a C Corp. So it could be an LLC tax as an S Corp, LLC tax as a C Corp. So I am going to reimburse 100% of that. If you are an investor, now I'm having to say, hey, I made 100 phone calls for 300 minutes. How many of those are related to your investment properties? And, oh, you made 3 of those 100 calls and it was, a portion of the time. I'm not going to get to write off much. That kind of stinks, right? I need to be able to write off the whole thing. You need to have the corporation in the mix.
Yeah.
And by the way, this explains that. Not to pimp Clint's book too much, but when you come to our event, the tax and asset protection event, we get into that. When you go and you spend time looking at the strategies that we've taught over the years and all the hundreds of hours of video on our YouTube, we explain that. Like we're breaking that down quite often.
And I like what you just said. And I think it's even more applicable for like the home office. If you're running through a corporation who's managing your investments,
10 times better. Literally 10 times the amount in several circumstances, because you can write off, instead of just doing the $5 an hour or $5 a square foot or the gross square footage, you can do net usable footage, or you can do room methodology, and you can do direct cost percentage. Direct cost is 100%, indirect cost, you can do portions. Like you could really get some benefit if you have an administrative office in the home that you're being reimbursed for, as opposed to a traditional home office. Somebody says, what if you have a separate phone number for owner investor activities? Then you could break it down easier. If you have a separate phone or phone number that's only used 100% for business, then you can write that up. But then you have another phone for personal. Yeah. And I'd rather not track that. That's just me. I'd rather not deal with that. I'd rather just write it all off, which you can do if you're an employee of your S Corp or C Corp.